Working harder is not always better. Now, before you start thinking I'm crazy or lazy, I think we gotta address this strange obsession that our culture has with underdogs. We all love the story of an underdog, the person who is deeply passionate about something, yet they show low skill. But as the story goes on, this person outworks every single person, and finally, in the last quarter of the game, the coach gets him off the bench and he or she scores the winning point. And we celebrate and love those stories. But here's my unpopular opinion. I think those people are deeply ineffective. You see, what if that person, instead of trying to be something they're not, became a whole lot more of who they already are? In this video, I want to talk to you about why it's better to be strength-focused versus weakness-focused. Number one, it is more efficient to be focused on your strengths. Think of it like this. Your life is a garden, and as you live your life, you sow seeds throughout your entire garden and you water it. But over time, you start noticing that certain areas of this garden are more fertile than the others. For example, one area may give you 1x return for your investment, the other one may give you 2x, the other place may give you 10x, and some areas you just get no return. And the same principle applies for our life. There are certain areas in our life where we're naturally talented in, we're naturally strong in. So now if we start thinking of the seed and watering as our time and our energy and our investment into those things, we start realizing that there are actually certain parts of our life that when we pour the energy and time and investment into, we get a higher yield of results. Another way to think about it is thinking of someone like Michael Jordan. Although Michael Jordan was fantastic in basketball, he was subpar when it came to both baseball and golf. Now, why is that? Well, I would argue that when you operate in your strengths, it acts as a multiplier effect. So for every hour investment that Michael Jordan made into basketball, he got a yield return of 8 times. Whereas if he invested 1 hour of practice into golf or baseball, we would see a lower multiplier effect. So what happens? Michael Jordan has the highest chance of becoming world-class in basketball and not in these other areas. And the same principle applies for yours and my life. What are the areas that you're naturally gifted and talented in? And it is actually more efficient to invest your time, your energy, your resources, your life into these areas. And what you'll find is that as you pour into it, you'll get a higher yield of results than if we had focused on what we're actually not naturally good at. Number two, working from your strengths is actually more effective, especially when you get the right people around you. Let me read you a story from the book StrengthsFinder 2.0. This is a real life example. Hector has always been known as a great shoemaker. In fact, customers from such far-off places as France claim that Hector made the best shoes in the world. Yet for years, he had been frustrated with his small shoemaking business. Although Hector knew he was capable of making hundreds of shoes per week, he was averaging just 30 pairs. And when a friend asked him why, Hector explained that while he was great at producing shoes, he was a poor salesman and terrible when it came to collecting money. Yet he spent most of his time working on these areas of weaknesses. So Hector's friend introduced him to Sergio, a natural salesman and marketer. Just as Hector was also known for his craftsmanship, Sergio could close deals and sell. Given the way their strengths complemented one another, Hector and Sergio decided to work together, and a year later, the strengths-based duo was producing and selling and collecting payments for more than 100 pairs of shoes per week, a more than 3-fold increase. So what this story shows is it's actually far more effective when you work in your strengths space and you start partnering with other people who are also effective in their strengths. And what you'll notice is your impact will actually go further than what you can imagine if you just decide to focus on your strengths and compensate for your weaknesses. And number 3, and the final point, it's just far more enjoyable to work from your strengths. I mean, think about it. Every time you get to do more of what you're good at, you actually get an adrenaline rush. You actually enjoy the process more. You may even find yourself in a flow state where you can do this activity or this certain thing for a long period of time. So in conclusion, why wouldn't you want to work smarter instead of harder? Can I encourage you? Let's get rid of this myth of you can be anything you want to be. No, instead, focus on being a whole lot more of who you already are. What will happen? It's going to be more effective, it's going to be more efficient, and it's going to be more enjoyable. If you enjoy that content and want to see more like this, feel free to like and subscribe and share this video. And for those of y'all who want to know more about your God-given calling, feel free to check out my free masterclass down in the description. See you next time.